inline or four soloist quad people. There was at least one guy, and he did it. He got to 100 miles. That was his goal. He looked like he was hurting the whole time, but he made it though. So good job on him.
Cool. So it was, how was that dynamic having all these other skaters? So let's start with Francisco, who, if you look at his lap times, that guy only has one speed, and that is very fast. I mean, he was pulling like 17-mile-an-hour speed.
No, more like 18 miles an hour.
Maybe 18, yeah, maybe.
God.
And then towards the end, he had a 20-mile-per-hour lap in like the last hour.
Yep.
So obviously, like, a lot of us, there was no live feed of the event other than whatever your partner put up in terms of Facebook Live, but we did have a live results information coming in, which was super good, the chip timing system that whatever they had. Tell me a little bit about that system, actually. Like, what you said, it was quite good.
So got part of it still. All it took was one little scannery thing right here, and it was like, you know, those like little rings that everybody puts on, like little arm things you put on when you go to the club.
Yep.
Basically one of those, this little sticker and that. And you could put that sticker, they were said to put it on your leg, but you could have put it wherever. You literally could have taped it to your body if you wanted to. Like a little gate, it blipped every time. And it would immediately show up on their little teleprompter telling you how far you've gone, what lap you're in, everything. It was so good. If you're going as fast as I was, so 14, the board was a little small, like it was a little small type. If you're going like 10, which most of the longboarders did, you could read it perfectly. It was so good. Like, I've done a lot of timing systems and dealt with those. This one was perfect. Like zero issues, immediate results. It's great.
Yeah, so it's fun watching like the results come in online. So like obviously like Francis, you were like I was running like calculation. I was like running my little calculator. I'll be like, I wonder if Parker's really maintaining that 14-mile-an-hour pace. And boy, it was like spot on 14 miles an hour. And like I have all the respect for you to like maintain that, especially when you're out there by yourself. You have Francisco who's just blasting laps, right? So apparently Francisco's goal had been to do.
He didn't really have a goal.
Yeah, no, he did. He wanted to do, but his strategy was to do things in 100-kilometer breaks. So he would stick for 100 kilometers, then he would take a long break, have a rest. You'd get ahead of him eventually, and like, you know, there'd always be a thought of like, oh my God, is Francisco really just going to outpace Parker? And it's just like, no. There's still 16 hours to go. There's still 20 hours to go, right? Like there's still 12. We're not even halfway through. Still 13 hours to go. We're looking at these things to be like, eventually that pace is going to wear down on you. But you did. Unfortunately, you ended up skating alone for a lot of it because that pace they were going. Like, so Francisco would ride with Jaime. He would ride with members of that. He'd be drafting his relay group. So like, you got in with him for a couple of laps. What was that like?
It was awesome. Just so, as you said, they were flying. Like, granted, I can go fast too, but knew I had to hold that 14, otherwise I'll lose calories, it'll work out, and we'll go. But getting to ride with him, I think I did like 3 laps with him, which were my fastest laps of the event, obviously.
Okay,
so nice. One cannot express how nice it is to be in the draft. Any skater, any bicyclist, we all know, like, you say like 130 rear effort the whole time. It really wasn't competitive. Not like, I'm going to beat you, this and that. There was a lot of working together. So very similar actually to A to A, where it's not, I'll stab you until like the very end or at the very beginning. In the middle, okay, we're stuck with each other. Let's get it. It was so nice to actually have other people to skate with, even if it was just for like little blips and stuff. And so we're using the longboarder guys too. The comparison it's a weird one because most of them do like 10 miles an hour average. Okay. The fastest guy there, longboard guy, did 13. That was his average. Well, I'm going 14, which means I'm flying by all these people pretty quick, right? So I'm going along, and all of a sudden you'd see like me pass person, right? You go, like they're almost like they're staying still. But then in the same moment you see like the train of Francisco and then go whoom, and just blur by all of us because it's another 4 miles an hour on top of my speed, just zipping by them. They actually got to a point where because nobody dealt with the situation before, that most of the time the fastest people are only going like 3 miles an hour max, faster than the person going by. When Francisco and them were doing 8 miles an hour, so almost double the speed of that person, they finally were like on the loudspeaker, hey, if you're going slow, stay to the left. Because of how fast they were just getting blown by them. Because I was only going 14 though, and because I was out there the whole time, ended up talking to a lot of the longboarder guys, because that stupid headwind. I would literally go, so the person's there, right? I would get as close to them as possible before I'd cut out and go around them, right? Because I want every inch of draft possible of these people. A lot of them would be going, they see them kind of flinch because where the sun is, my shadow would go past them and they'd be like, oh crap, because they think I'm just going to nail them.
Well,
So
especially when they probably just got buzzed by Francisco and
that whole team, they'd feel the breeze. So I told every one of them, I was like, look, I'll make a deal. I will never hit any of y'all ever. Like I will literally run off the track before I hit you guys. I'm just trying to use the draft off you. About probably like 5 hours in, they all were like, oh, okay, cool. Like they all learned who I was going around, because you learn the shadow thing. It's so weird, the shadow thing, because I've never dealt with shadows before. At A2A, there are no shadows. At the 24 Hours of Montreal, there wasn't any shadows because of the directions we were going. So having to go, oh, there's people shadows, because you could learn, because they have stand-up paddle boarding, which who knew? And then they have like actual longboard people. The way all of our shadows look completely different when they're coming up on you. And then like with the relay team, for example, because of the way they're skating, they're all down low, they're hunker stuff. Theirs looks different than mine. So they could actually see me coming just from the shadow coming at them. That's really cool, actually.
Wow, that's something, right? Like we're all got that little personality going on. So tell me a little bit about the attitude of the longboarders. Obviously, this is an event that we are guests at, right? That they've opened up and decided to be kind and let others, unlike themselves, join in this event without knowing too much. So what was their attitude towards seeing inline skaters on the course?
Good. To capitalize on that point you just said, it's funny that you say we're a guest at this one, because we are. It's not really our event. We're just allowed to be there. And yeah, we're on the thing and everything, but it's their event. The Lamar race that we keep trying to go to, that's actually an inline skate event that allows longboarders now. So it's kind of funny that one event is, there's still 24-hour races, but they just could have done this.
Cool to see that symbiosis, right? Be like, let's just make more events for everyone and just like
more
have
people on wheels, more wheels. So that's really cool. At first, it was really apparent because, ready, set, go, right? All the inline skaters, we all just kind of stayed kind of going sort of slow and followed like the main lead longboard guys for like the first lap. We didn't really just blast by them. We're like, okay, it's okay. I don't really want to pass that guy because he's like the event guy. So we can. And then after the first lap, okay, let's nail it, right? So we all just took off. They were so nice, like unbelievably nice. The event people, like even down to, there's their main guy, Andy, the machine guy. He's so good. The guy that hosted the MC, all of them were so nice to us the whole time. They were just like, wow, like that is so cool how fast you guys are going. And then once again, because I was going slow and ended up talking to most of the longboard guys, so I ended up finding out who was in first, who was in third, who was going to be out there the whole time. Because once it gets to be like 10 hours in, you're kind of stuck with each other. You kind of know who's going to be on the track the whole time, who you're going to pass and see every time. I don't know, just because I'm me and I talk a lot. No, me talk a lot? No, I never do that.
No, never.
I'm always giving like thumbs up and dap to all of them, because that gets me through the event, just going, you can do it, yeah, yeah. So I'm just always cheering on people all the time. It's funny. As I'm going along through the night, right, I did that spell where I kind of died for a little bit, right? And then I started coming back. During that time, I started just dying. And then so on the way back, I make a lot of terrible grunting noises. I'm just suffering, like, oh, this hurts, right? As I'm doing that, because I'm trying to get my lap total and time back up to get to my number I wanted, every single person I said, yeah, you can do it, started doing the same thing back at me. They all started cheering at me. I was like,
wow. Talk about paying it forward.
I mean, that helped so much. I couldn't believe it. And like, that quad guy I mentioned, that had been suffering. He genuinely, that dude actually suffered to get his 100. He really hurt himself to do it. Even he was like, dude, suffer through it, man. You can make it. Like I said, all the longboard guys were like, dude, that was so impressive to like watch you there at the end, because a difference. So when they kept seeing like the relay team go by, they didn't quite feel the same. But since they saw me the whole time, they're like, wait, you're still out here. But they all went out to like go do lunch and dinner and stuff. You're still here suffering the whole time. All right. So there was that kindred like bond that we made because of that, because they're out there the whole time. They're like, we're not leaving the track. So it's really cool to see that.
That's super, super awesome. So going around, following the numbers, Francisco did take his breaks.
Oh,
He took like nice long lunch breaks, and then he got ahead of him, and then he'd be back on the course doing his second 100K, whizzing by. Eventually, he got ahead of you in terms of mileage,
yeah.
and then he just kept taking breaks. Looking at all the numbers, it looked like he slept 4.5 hours at night.
At least.
At least, something like that. Jaime apparently thought he could beat you, by the way. And Francisco's trying to tell him, like, no, you don't know this guy. You don't know who Parker is. Like, and Jaime, the funniest story is Jaime actually came by to my skate shop that Wednesday night, and he bought a pair of recreation skate boots because he was worried his feet were going to get destroyed by a speed.
They did.
And they did.
I saw him in those skates.
Yeah. So wait, did he use the rec skates?
Yeah, I saw him. It was like, I want to say between 4 and 6 hours in. Yeah, he was already in those. He basically had every buckle and lace undone on him so he could move around in them. But he just looked at me going, loco essay. Loco. This is loco essay. No, this is loco. This is dumb. I was like, oh, what? It's fine. He's like, no, this is stupid.
So that's 2 pairs of FR skates that made it to this track, by the way. Like you got your prototypes there. And then we had the FR2s that I sold him. So super exciting. And he mounted some 3x125 frames on there. So
Katamoto's actually. Katamoto's transformers on there.
Yep. So go figure that he did that. But yeah, motivation is a big thing. So in addition to the motivation you were given to the longboarders, and then they sent back to you, the quad skaters, and what they sent back to you, was there anything else that really kept you going and motivated throughout this event?
Well, there was when my partner came back multiple times, and like it was live streaming, like you got to watch a whole bunch of it, and we're like, you can do it, dude.
So cool to watch. We couldn't help but cheer you on, right? Like you're the hero. You're representing us.
Yeah, no, that helped out a ton. So I know she live streamed, I believe, the beginning of the race, the middle of the night, kind of, and then right in the morning. By the morning, it didn't really matter at that point. I was kind of broken. I got my goal at that point, so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna get there. But the middle of the night one, you had Peter, who always breathes my name, but I even had Peter like showed up. I was like, on the live stream, I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah. By middle of the night, you were talking more so, not in the actual middle, you're talking about the late evening, right? Like I think your partner was doing on the hour, basically, whenever you came by to do your breaks. It was like 7 p.m., then 8 p.m., then 9 p.m., then 10 p.m. I believe those were.
Yeah, but during that time, it was really nice to know that other people were watching and like chiming in and going, dude, you can do it, you can make it. So that was actually really cool. Heck, I even had a Pancho. Yeah, what up, Pancho? Another one of Miami's finest. Even before I got to the event, the day before, he was like, all right, here's the weather report. All right, it's going to be like this at the track. You can, the headwind will be at this time. You can do it, all stuff. So just having like, even though people couldn't be there, just knowing that they were like, my phone got blown up. I'm sorry to everybody. I couldn't get all the messages replied to, but even my phone's getting blown up the entire race going, you can make it, we're watching you. So.
Nice. Yeah, that makes a difference. It's something I've heard, especially for anyone doing a 24-hour event, which I've yet to do one, but I was told that the thing that really, what ends up happening is like you could have all your stuff set up to the side, but what sometimes matters is you need someone there, like your support crew. The thing they're actually giving you isn't like physical support at the end of the day. It ends up being mental support more than anything. To just say, keep going, keep going, keep going. So it seems like, for anyone considering a 24-hour event, that is a big factor. And as Parker has proven, that's quite the deal, right? Like